One of the most common questions I get asked on my Rocketbook Everlast and Fusion videos is whether or not it's okay to use the eraser on Pilot's FriXion pens with Rocketbook's notebooks. And it's a fair question. Both on their Kickstarter campaign and in replies to comments on Amazon, Rocketbook says they're okay to use, at least occasionally. But a lot of customers are worried about damaging the pages. So in order to determine how well Rocketbooks hold up to Pilot's FriXion erasers, I decided to conduct a little test. Using a permanent marker, I drew a box on the bottom of a never-before-used page on my Everlast mini notebook. Then inside of the box, I drew several hatched lines and allowed them to dry, using a fan to speed up the process. Then I erased the box contents as I would have normally, using between 1 and 2 pounds of pressure. After wiping away some of the eraser remains using a dry finger, I repeated the process 5 times before wetting the page with a water brush and drying it to remove any eraser remnants that had built up. I repeated this until I erased the same small section 100 times using the FriXion eraser included on my Pilot pen. What makes Rocketbook's notebooks interesting products is that they allow you to scan and upload your notes to the cloud and claim to be infinitely reusable because of the polyester composite pages that have a surface coating that allows the ink from Pilot's FriXion line of pens, markers, and highlighters to dry and adhere to the surface in such a way that they can be erased using a damp cloth. It's that special surface coating that many are concerned about damaging with the erasers. Personally, I try to use water whenever possible, but I do use the FriXion erasers when correcting small mistakes on the fly. One thing I always noticed though was that the eraser leaves behind a thin film on top of the notebook's surface, which can be challenging to write over until it's been wiped away with moisture, and this definitely aligns with what I saw in my testing. Using the eraser once, you can write over the same section again with some difficulty, but after 2 to 3 times, if you don't wipe away the residue with water, it becomes exceedingly hard to write in the same location. Having said that, after wiping the surface of the Rocketbook following the 5th erasing, I was able to write over the same area without issue. At least for the first 20 to 25 times that I used the FriXion eraser. After this, I noticed that the page texture began to change, and while I could still write, the lines were thinner and less consistent. By the time I had erased the page 50 times in the same location, there was a definite change, even after water was used to clean the eraser film from the page surface. It became more challenging to write in general. So I drew a few lines over the test area after cleaning it with water, and it was clear that the ink from the FriXion pen wasn't taking to the surface well. By the time I used the eraser 55 times, I began to notice that the page was visibly lighter where I had been erasing. This discoloration continued to become more pronounced as I erased more and more, and the pen ink had greater difficulty adhering to the page. When I finally reached 100 times erasing the Rocketbook's test section, I stopped, but after erasing about 70 times, I found that it was very difficult to write at all. Now, my test doesn't exactly recreate a normal writing experience, but I do think that it demonstrates that Rocketbook's surface coating can be compromised from using the FriXion erasers a lot. Based on these results, I would caution you with how often you use Pilot's FriXion erasers in your Rocketbook notebooks. I'm sure from time to time, I'll still use the eraser, though perhaps with more caution and a little bit of a lighter touch than before. So I still haven't found the perfect solution for precision erasing in Rocketbook's notebooks. Even light erasing with Pilot's FriXion pens leaves a problematic residue behind that needs to be removed with water. And while filling a paint pen with water is more accurate than using a damp cloth, it still isn't ideal if you have to erase something nested inside of a sentence. If you have another method for erasing the Rocketbook notebook, I'd love to hear about it in the comments down below. I'll also leave links in the description to where you can pick up your own Rocketbook and help support this channel through an affiliate link. Otherwise, if you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you next time.